Welcome to my old 1.1 10K SPM megabase. This is not Space Age, this is vanilla. I never did a video on this back in the day. This save game is about 2-3 years old. So given how much more compact things have gotten in Space Age right now, I thought it would be interesting to go over this so you can see the comparisons. I'm going to be making some videos on the Space Age planets over the next couple weeks, so be fun to see exactly how much things have shrunk down versus what it takes right now. So this is 10K SPM. This is with Space Age disabled, but it's still in 2.0, so the liquids are a bit screwed because of the whole pipeline changes. We're at about, I guess it says 15K right now, but trust me, it's around 10, 11K SPM over the long term. If we open up this and look at 10 hours, yeah, you'll see about 10K. It's 10, 11. You know, there's a lot of trains in here, so there can be a little variance because of how much traffic there tends to be at certain areas, but I built enough to make sure that it would stay at about 10K. We have 378 trains in here. One of the things I did do in this base, which was kind of innovative at the time, was we have no ore trains. Every time we make iron or copper, it's smelted immediately at the patch into either iron or steel or copper, and then loaded on a train from there. These seem to be working fine now. Although, yeah, if you don't load it with Space Age, the mining prod doesn't work right. But right now the base is kind of coasting on a lot of buffers because, yeah, the pipelines are broken, so that means the oil refineries are screwed, and obviously I'm not going to go through the whole thing and fix it. I'm just doing this video to give you a rough idea of what all it took. Here's our old, this is like module production and stuff, I think. No, wait, what was this? No, this was white science. Yeah, this was white science. Yeah, you can't see it anymore because, yeah, it's loaded in 2.0. Even though Space Age is disabled, that means the white science no longer is what is... It doesn't even show white science. Okay, apparently there is no white science in non-Space Age 2.0 Factorio anymore. I don't even know what's going on. But yeah, as you can see, some stuff's going to be a bit wonky here. But yeah, let's zoom out a bit here and show you guys the entire base. So this is it. These are the city blocks that we have. And we have the old blueprint books over here. And it's just a relatively small number of different types of city blocks that are all just tiled over and over. Like, we have a lot of green circuits, red circuits, blue circuits. We have some refinery city blocks, some double refinery city blocks, and so on. And then we have the science, red, green, gray, etc., etc. And everything's just handled by trains. This is a train-based city block megabase, and it's just about, stamping down the city blocks that you need over and over based on what you need. We had a pretty fancy dashboard here that kind of indicated what we had supply, and the bottom part indicates what's in demand. And based on that, you add trains and city blocks depending on what's currently low, and that's how you scale the base. But it was pretty fast to put together, as I said. There's only about 120 hours in this save right now, like much less than you would expect for a base of this size. But I had all the blueprints planned out before I started this, so it was pretty much just stamping everything down over and over. So let's go over some of the areas. You can see, like, this is what steel processing essentially looked like back in the day, like just giant amounts of belts. We had two of these. I think this was one of the bigger steel hubs. Yeah, we had two of these back to back. We have one over here, and then one over here, and all of that is condensing into about 6 belts of steel, give or take. That all that just that gets loaded into a couple trains down here. Here's some coal and some stone. Just rivers and rivers of belts. Like, without stacking belts, you needed so much more belt throughput is one of the biggest increases we've had in Space Age, and I fucking love stacked belts. They're amazing. This is a depot. Essentially, the way the system works is the trains go to their load station, they pick something up, then they go to the depot and wait for an unload call. And once they receive an unload call, they'll head out over to that. There's a lot of these depots scattered around the base to make sure that the trains don't have to go too far. The circuitry here is related to the dashboarding system. It reads the contents of what train is stopped at the depot and sends it to the dashboard. So that's how we have our indicator of what's in good supply. Is the lights show how many of each train type is waiting at a depot and ready to supply a station. You already saw the reactor at the start of the video, but yeah, I'll give you a slightly better view. It's absolutely massive. This is a 266 core reactor and is the heart of the base as far as power generation is concerned. It's not the only one though. I think there's another one somewhere. If I can find it. It's been a while. You'll have to, oh, here it is up here. Yeah, this was before. This was the older design that wasn't tileable. As you can see, it's like a 16 core block that's repeated, whereas the infinite reactor is seamlessly tileable and you can just keep adding slices. There's 2 slices of this, you know, in my current Space Age playthrough, but then after that we're basically on fusion power. So yeah, each slice of, I believe 14 cores as each slice is 2 gigawatts. So still a good power source in Space Age, but yeah, fusion just kind of outclasses everything. So this is Circuit City down here. We've got not the majority, I would say, well, a plurality, you know, whatever the fuck you call it, of circuits here. We've got rivers of green here, here, and here. The circuit depot, another depot. As you can see, this one's pretty much all loaded with circuits because they're just heading to the nearest depot. Over here we've got blue circuits with more green coming in there. And the massive red circuit blocks. I don't know if there's another one down here. Nope. After that is other stuff. And there's more circuit blocks scattered all over the place. Here's a yellow science block as well. And we've got double unloading of trains because, yeah, you needed... Again, no stack inserters, no legendary inserters, so this is what we had to do back in the day. This circuit unloading and determining whether the things switch on or off was much more complicated back then because things getting unbalanced was an issue. So one of the ways that I solved it back in the day was having it load up to a certain threshold, then activate the train summoning, and then when it gets too low, turn off until it fills back up again. And these lights turn red, if I remember correctly, when it gets too low. And this is the latch for a supply station. So this being red being right now, meaning it's still filling up. Once it fills up enough, it'll turn green until it gets too low and repeat. And that's why there's so many combinators here. Like most of my train stations in Space Age right now don't even have any circuits hooked up to them because, you know, when you've got liquid metal being pumped directly into trains and the trains fill in like 10 seconds and the stations never have to worry about filling up, all you have to do is set, like, you know, train limit 2 and you're done. So it's kind of crazy how much simpler those things have gotten. These are my refinery blocks. Here's 2 of them back to back, which is a pattern I started doing more and more because, you know, let me... This butterfly pattern is something you'll see a lot in my designs even now, like designing something and then taking a second one and then just flipping it and then merging the outputs together. Yeah, that's something I tend to do a lot. And here you can see one back even in 1.13 years ago. Mainly worried about producing plastic. I had a couple different kinds of oil refineries. You know, there's some coal liquefaction ones around somewhere. I don't know if I can find one because, yeah, this place is not a mess per se, but okay, it's a little messy. But it's kind of hard to keep track of everything. Here's blue science. Here's the giant blue science column, since blue science takes forever to make, so those columns needed to be enormous. Over here we've got more copper. No, copper. More iron. The other metal. I mean, here, I think this was one of the biggest iron stations. Yeah, filling up 5 double loaded trains, each being loaded from each side. So huge amounts of iron coming in there. All being trained to where it needs. This looks like steel up here. Yeah, this one's steel again. I did try switching at some point to solar panels, and yeah, we've gotten about 50 UPS now. This was about 30 UPS on my 10-year-old PC in 1.1. When I upgraded to my current 7800 X3D system, we got to about 40, and then when the 2.0 optimizations hit, now we're at about 50, but still, it just goes to show exactly how much is going on, even with the 2.0 optimizations. It's pretty bad, UPS wise. Yeah, inserters are very high. Mining drills are taking up a good chunk. Even biters taking up a bit. Boilers are over 1 as well. Yeah, all these numbers are way lower. My inserters in my current 500K SPM space age base are like under 1 most of the time. They occasionally spike a little higher, but yeah, we can take a look at this too. Fluid is taking up a 1.1. Like, that's way better now. Transport lines as belts is horrible at 1.5. So yeah, even trains are at 1.1 over there. So control behavior, that's circuits, are up at 0.6. I mean, that's pretty high in my current space age game too, although I use some pretty complicated circuits and all that. So yeah, right now we're at about 14K, but as I said, that's not like fully accurate. I think there's some buffers in there, but long term it stabilizes over at like 10, 11K. I did try changing to solar power at some point. I guess I picked the wrong time to look at the panels because it's night right now and you can't see it that well. But I did try making solar for a bit to try to alleviate the UPS issues until I realized exactly how big the solar was going to have to be, and then I just kind of said to hell with that. The defenses against the biters are still the fire-based system. If you've been watching my Twitch and been seeing my current run in Space Age, then you can see that this design is essentially unchanged. This is all condensed down to one combinator now in Space Age because they all have the same output, so you can just put all the conditions in the same combinator. So that this whole thing got shrunk down, and I dropped the length of the fire-based train from 4 cars to the minimum of 3 cars. 1 cargo, 1 light oil, and 1 artillery wagon. It's kind of hard to get any smaller than that. But yeah, that design has probably been, I mean, it's still been changed quite a bit, but is overall the most unchanged design from Space Age to normal. In fact, I think the firewall segments are still identical. I haven't actually changed those at all, so the defenses are the one thing that did survive. Apparently I can't spell white over here. Here's another white science block. Over here we've got rivers of copper and so on. These are the intersections that I used. This one I did not design myself. I got out of the intersection thread, found one that fit nicely, unlike my current Space Age intersections, which I have designed entirely myself. But yeah, I found one that fit what I wanted to do quite nice, and it's quite compact. And you can see just how much more compact they are when you don't have the elevated rails compared to the I think I disabled I disabled the mod. Yeah, I disabled the elevated rail mod when I loaded this save, so it would load this correctly, and yeah, so it's not showing it correctly there. But yeah, I mean, the new intersections are easily like 3 times the size of this. What else do we got here? Here's a light oil dedicated ref, made from coal liquefaction. These were made because I wound up having light oil issues at some point because of the amount of rocket fuel you need for white science and whatnot. So I had some refineries that produced very little plastic. Like, the only plastic was from the petroleum from here. It never actually cracked to petroleum, and was mainly focused on putting out very, very, very large amounts of light oil in order to make rocket fuel. And we have copper being belted down here. and so on. I think I've shown you at least one of each type of block now. I guess you haven't seen red and green science. Here's red science. Here's one over here, just iron and copper. Rivers flowing in just to get one little belt of red science out. Don't know if I have a green science around here somewhere. It can be kind of hard to see the icons. Here is like a really old smelting array, I think, before I changed to the new one. And we have the lab setups here. Probably should have shown those. So here's our labs. We used a sushi circuit, splitter-based sushi, because it balances things nicely in order to get the science in there. And we have these nice long columns, and it all comes over here, fed from the trains down here, which have some nice indicator lights as well. Got some more iron up here as well. Oh, here's purple science. I haven't seen purple science yet. Not as big as blue science or, you know, say red chips or anything like that. Doesn't take up the entire city block. But, yeah. Still takes, you know, all the glorious stone and steel that it does right now. Damn thing can't be prodded. One thing that... Oh, here's a green science. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. There you go. Green circuits, iron coming in. Green science coming out. One thing that I was really proud of, the way I designed these city blocks, which I sort of miss a little bit, but if you look closely at them, like look at every block, like this is one that's facing the normal way. The input is always 1/3, say, from the bottom, and then the output is, say, 1/3 up from the right. And the reason that was done is so that the blocks can be rotated anyway. Like you can rotate them 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 270 degrees, and it will still tile seamlessly with another one. As you can see, this one's been rotated, this one's upside down, but this output line does not interfere with that output line. And that's really nice when dealing with, you know, something that might block where your buildings are located, like these oil patches here. So that was something I was pretty happy with and took a long time to design around, was that ability to like seamlessly rotate any block and just stamp it down next to any block regardless of the rotation of those blocks and have everything fit. As you can see, these are both rotated on their sides, so the trains are inputting over here, and nothing had to be modified or changed. Everything just stamped down seamlessly. It took quite a lot of design effort, but you know, I was very happy with that result. I think that more or less covers everything. Here's a double depot. The depot only takes up half the block, so it was nice to stamp down in areas where there was something I might want to tap later, like that copper field right there. But yeah, here's a double one. There's quite a few depots. You know, here. And this one's surprisingly empty, but a lot of them get filled pretty quickly with all the trains waiting. Like, yeah, this is an example of one that's pretty high traffic and lots of trains getting loaded up here, ready to go, waiting for their call to go to their destination. I'll give you one more zoomed out look of the whole base and see if there's anything else I forgot to mention, but I think that pretty much covers anything. If you want to look through this save yourself, it is, I believe it is still on my blueprint spreadsheet, which is always linked in the description. It's on the second tab, though. It's not on the main tab. Obviously, the first tab is Space Age, so you need to go to the second tab for that. But yeah, there you go. I was going to put another fission reactor there if I needed, but never wound up actually needing to. Oh, I forgot to check power. Where's the power pole? Here you go. Yeah, about 60 gigawatts right now being produced using about 40, using about 45 gigawatts, aka 75% of that. And now we got the nice heat pipes glowing in the dark as well. I sort of miss like the giant designs and just the grand scale of things in 1.1. You know, there's definitely something very visually impressive about having these, like, giant rivers of iron and copper and circuits, as opposed to now in Space Age 2.0, where we just got like one liquid pipe that's carrying like 100,000 fluid per second or something ridiculous like that. And that's replaced all of this. But they're different challenges, and I'm definitely enjoying Space Age quite a bit. And I definitely do prefer the new systems. Like having like one building just putting on an absolutely crazy amount is more fun from a puzzle solving perspective than just creating one design, then just stamping it down over and over and over and over and over. Space Age has a lot more variety in each problem you have to solve, and the problems are generally more difficult and require more complicated solutions, as opposed to essentially having the same concept of trains coming in, materials come out, the other one goes in, and then just repeating that over and over and over. Not to mention the sheer number of different materials in Space Age compared to vanilla. There were relatively few types of materials being trained around in this base. You can see on the list right here, like the oil products, light oil, lube, plastic, sulfuric acid, coal, iron plates, copper plates, the 3 circuit types, the science, stone, steel, stone, brick. That's basically it. It's quite a relatively low number of train types, because I tried to keep things as integrated as possible. Sort of, I guess, a bit of an early, very, very early progenitor to what, is my current blade design, where we just bring in the basic materials, do a whole bunch of processing steps, and then put out the stuff at the end. I think that's best seen with something like the purple or the white science, where, we're bringing in the raw material, do all the processing, and then bring out the finished product at the end. So there you go. Here's our little park, or our little nature preserve. But I hope you enjoyed this tour of my old 1.1 megabase. I hope I didn't forget anything, but as I said, if I did, you can always look at the game file yourself. It's linked in the blueprint sheet. Just make sure you turn off Space Age before you load it, because otherwise shit like the mining prod doesn't work right, and apparently it's dropped now for some reason. But it's probably like the oil buffer's running out, because the pipes are completely broken. We can check and see which one actually ran out. It looks like it's the white science. Yeah, of course it's the white science, because white science apparently doesn't exist anymore. So how can we make white science when white science no exist? There probably is some way to disable 2.0 and get that going again. But yeah, I'm doing this video just to show you like the scale of things and what all are required, and the city blocks that we had back then. I don't really care about actually getting this base functional again. This is the finished game as far as I'm concerned. So, thanks for watching, guys. I'm Stupid Fat Hobbit. I stream at Twitch TV SF Hobbit. Have a good one.